chard, I was same idea. I was like, 4 chard, that's enough for our household. We go through it every once in a while, but here's what happens. December ticks in, sunlight hours are gone. All of a sudden, it takes a week to grow 1 leaf. So we were like, we have so many greens to eat. We go out there, chard hasn't moved in a week. So this year, I've doubled all my greens.
That's
because it's so slow in the winter.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, I just can't get enough to grow.
So you've doubled your production, not because you actually need it at full growth level.
Yes.
But because it's not growing
the winter
as fast.
Growth level.
Makes sense. We have the late winter sun beating down on my face. Jacques with a straw hat. Somehow he has a shady spot. Not fair. Welcome back to the Beet Podcast, my friends. This is our last episode, Jacques, you and I.
Yeah.
For the season of 2024. How you feel?
Feel pretty good. Yeah? I feel like this year has been interesting. I think overall, great. Honestly, I can't think of anything too bad that's happened. It's been a pretty chill year for me, at least in the garden overall.
It's been a good garden year for sure. It's the most produce I think I've pulled out of my garden for sure. Mostly due to the squash and onions. Those are my biggest producers.
You got some big onions this year.
Oh man, did I ever get some big onions. But the thing that is frustrating is unless you store them really, really well or you have the longer storing varieties, you actually have to use them kind of fast.
Yeah, that's actually one little misstep that I've done, which is not paying any attention to the storage potential.
Oh my God.
And that's because I feel like we just eat them so fast usually that I didn't even think it mattered. But we've been growing yellow granax for a while. And apparently the storage on that is like maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
So we need a longer storing onion.
You need a longer storing onion or we need to freeze, preserve, whatever the onions so that they don't do that. Man, it's still hot right now. I have to say, still hot. We were talking about the garlic last time we got together on the pod and mine is going. Mine is kind of ramping. I've got all of it covered up right now and I'm feeling good. I still haven't planted my hardneck.
Right now, I currently have 500
oh, no,
to 550.
That's crazy.
Actual cloves of garlic in the ground. Yeah, not like in theory.
How many total beds we talking?
2 beds. I reignited my front yard patch, which is like 10 by 10.
Yeah.
10 by 10, that's 400 cloves of garlic.
So you have 400 there and then 100 in the normal garden? Wow.
I have one raised bed, 4 by 8 with about 120.
Yeah.
So that's my first try. The 400 up front, like that's my golden goose. That's what's going to get me through the year.
Your big load.
And I'm going to probably plant another 100 for green garlic. Not for me, but for gifting to friends.
Well, here's what I've done. So I've planted an 8x4 bed, and that is what, 100 to
120.
120 cloves. So I'm at 120 just right there. Then I planted all the ones I was going to plant for green garlic, which is, of course, just growing it and cutting off the top and not allowing it to bulb out. I decided, I guess, to plant those also as clove garlic or bulb garlic. And so that was like at least another 100.
Okay.
And then I still don't have the hardneck planted. Both the stuff from Botanical Interests are hardneck, and then we grabbed some other hardneck for some other vendors as well. So that means I have, I would say, at least another 150 to plant.
Okay. Do you want to plant them all?
I do want to plant them all.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Because I have enough soft neck. That's going to be my like...
The storage garlic.
My storage garlic. What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like that all around, right?
Okay.
Just grab it off the shelf. It doesn't matter.
Use it.
You're not calling for anything special. All the hard necks preserve just slightly less long. And I don't know, maybe I'll use them as like honey additives or something like that. I don't know. But we got to stop talking about garlic on this podcast, I swear. Like,
I know. I think it's because we both love garlic so much.
Yeah.
But I will say, while it is still warm in the daytime, it is getting cold at night.
Yeah.
Over at my house, I'm at 42 degrees at night. And, it's getting into December. It's going to start hitting the 30s. And already, for example, I know I made a mistake because I still have tomatoes in the ground. I still have a paste tomato and a big beef, like an actual big tomato. I don't know. I have a problem.
He can't let go.
I can't. I still have a pepper bed.
Yeah.
That's coming out this week.
I took that out for my garlic.
Yeah. And that's coming out this week, so I can put more brassicas in. But I am almost there. I'm fully transitioned. One thing that I did differently this year that I'm really happy about is that I think I've improved the aesthetics of my garden.
You have.
A lot.
Absolutely you have. I was over there a little bit ago. You've got well, honestly, we just did the same thing. We're sitting on a freshly mulched ground. There's such a
big
crazy difference on a freshly mulched ground, don't you think?
Yeah, because the wood hasn't turned gray yet.
Hasn't turned gray. It's nice and uniform. You don't have a bunch of nonsense like strewn about. And of course, it's going to help build your soil. I love the look, but yeah, I would say you had a big swap this year from straw-based pathways and mulch to chip-based pathways and mulch. And it just looks better if it's your predominant thing, because otherwise you have this sort of really light reflective surface.
Totally. This year I did switch from straw mulch throughout the entire garden, like beds and pathways, to only leaving straw in my garden beds. So that's made a big difference on the aesthetics. It's also made a big difference on filming my garden. Less random reflections from the straw. And I think the garden in general is doing better because the wood is holding the moisture much better in the pathways. You could put it on thicker without it breaking down so fast. By the time I spread straw and then I get a couple months in, it's already broken down so much that I feel like there's nothing left. Because you trample it, you walk over it. So it doesn't look as good, doesn't last as long. And the wood will probably help build better soil in the long run because it'll be actually accessible to all the mushrooms I've spread throughout my garden.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you've added a lot of mushrooms to your garden, whether it's in the pathways or just directly in a bed or something. So I think chips make more sense. I will say that the straw still, to me, is an elite tier actual bed mulch.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorites in that
the best.
case. But I haven't used it as much this year as years past, mostly because I think we talked about this maybe a couple episodes ago with you and I. This year was our best year of properly transitioning from season to season without decimating and just going full barren.
Yeah.
And so even now, remember last season around November or so, the backyard was like completely empty. Now I have that smile flower patch going still.
Yeah, it still looks good.
The broccoli is actually starting to form. Cauliflower is starting to form in November, which is honestly kind of a triumph because most of the time I've gotten my broccoli and cauliflower by growing it through our true winter.
Yes.
Another thing that you would imagine, oh, planting season's over, but for this one crop, it's not. We both have it in our gardens now. We've planted more of it than we ever have before. Saffron.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a whole little raised bed full of saffron. And I don't know what I was expecting because this isn't the right region. I think most of it is grown in Iran, I believe.
It can be grown here, though.
It could be grown here. And I think maybe it's a little bit too cold where we are exactly for it to thrive and not enough heat in the day. But it is flowering. And even with all that stuff I just said, I picked the first threads of saffron and they smelled amazing. Like they smelled like really high quality, delicious saffron.
Yeah.
So I was very excited about that. I did not think it would actually match or exceed the spice that you buy. But in most cases, I think it's hard to find like truly good saffron.
Top tier saffron. I think the freshness of the threads probably matters more in some cases even than like the terroir of where it's grown.
Yeah.
Because if it's come to you and it's like been sitting in the jar for a year or something, maybe it's just not going to be as good. I planted 100 corms maybe.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. I've got about 50 in the front yard and then a whiskey barrel, which is in like a third of the overall plantable space. I think I still have another 50 in that.
Wow.
Because apparently you can crowd it 2 inches apart.
Yeah, that's wild. You could get really dense with them.
It's crazy. And then it's weird. It's almost like you don't have to grow it because you plant the corm, you get a sprout coming out the top, you get a small sort of root mass at the bottom, almost akin to like an oniony type look.
Oh, yeah.
And then the flower, which is a crocus, it just comes out. Like there's nothing.
From seemingly nowhere.
Yeah, nothing else really happens. You get these very thin sort of finger-like leaves, and then you clip the whole flower off, pull 3 threads. So I have enough saffron. It's drying on my laundry room sort of countertop on like a very delicate little cloth.
Like a tea towel or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I just took all the 4 corners of the tea towel and kind of bunched it so I could see it all in one. And it's a nice little cluster. I would say we probably have 3 hairs per, and I probably harvested 20 flowers so far.
Yeah.
So about 60 threads, which of course, I believe it's something like 200,000 corms need to be harvested for a kilogram of saffron.
Yeah.
Which would be thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So I don't even know economically how much I'm going to grow, but I'll actually have enough to do something real with it.
Oh, yeah. You don't even need that much.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then the cool part too is, and we're working on this video right now about growing saffron seed to harvest. It's really more like corm to corm. Because you put a corm in, then the corms will multiply over the course of the season. So it's kind of like I had someone on, maybe it was the woman I had on about dahlias a while back.
Oh, yeah.
And she was saying the same thing. She's like, look, if you become a dahlia farmer and you get a nice variety, you can propagate these tubers endlessly. It just takes you a few years, but then you're like swimming in it, you know?
Yeah, that unique genetic diversity. It's really wild how these things actually work. Just like garlic, not to get back on garlic, but it's like a clove that you separate to get a bulb, and then you get more cloves to plant more. because the saffron will make little cormlets, right? Like little
Cormlets, yeah.
little tiny little corms,
yeah.
and you can plant those.
Yeah.
I think they don't produce the flower the first year of the tiny ones, maybe.
They may not. But I think if you let this fully die out in the winter, you'll get the biggest cormlets possible.
Right.
Or maybe even plantable corms next year. I know some people just leave them in, and then they keep coming up more and more
in
and
the
more.
same space. We should probably try to grow more spices.
I think we should. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to grow. I need to figure out how possible cardamom is in here.
I was going to suggest that one.
Star anise.
Yeah. I think cardamom would do fine.
Maybe just blending. We did a show a while back on dehydrating and making spices, but I would like to try to replicate certain spices. Like, what if I could do an everything but the bagel?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like a poppy seed.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What is it? Poppy, sesame,
onion, like roasted onion and
roasted
garlic
onions
chunks.
And garlic chunks, and then salt, right?
Probably.
Or maybe onion or garlic salt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually fully
you could
possible.
do that. Yeah.
Sesame poppy is possible. You just grow the breadseed poppy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain poppies apparently that are actually for culinary use.
That's
and others that
actually,
aren't.
dude, I'm actually very interested in that idea. I grew in everything but the bagel, right?
Literally, but the bagel.
It's yeah.
But we could make bagels.
But we could make the bagel. We could grow a bagel. So I grew in everything bagel.
Yeah.
I grew in everything bagel.
That's a story.
That's a story right there.
I would take that ride.
If you're listening
That journey.
or you're watching, should we grow a bagel? Full on.
Yeah.
Bake it, boil it, season
The whole
it.
thing.
The whole
Get
nine.
that live at.
Should we auction the bagel off for charity at the end?
I don't know. I think we have to eat it.
I'd buy it.
I have to eat it.
I'd buy that bagel for $100. If I was watching, I'd buy it for $100.
Well, maybe you make a baker's dozen.
Yeah.
A clean 13, and then we'll see.
Speaking of, it is fall winter.
Yes.
I've been a baker, man. I've been watching Great British Bake Off. Spoiler alert, we did a bake off, Jacques and I. We did a dinner roll bake off.
Maybe the results. You'll
won.
have to see. You'll have to see.
No, you probably won.
On a technical level.
You'll have to go watch the episode, but let's just say I tried to make a tangzong, which is a mixture of flour, milk, and water that you heat up, and then you add yeast afterwards. And
He was dropping words I've never heard before.
I'm pretty sure I killed the yeast is the problem.
Yeah.
But we will be making a upside down lemon cake competition soon on the Homesteading
Have you ever
channel.
made a cake? Like an actual, like a proper cake?
Are you talking like a Betty? I can't say like a Betty Crocker, right?
No. Like, have you made a cake from scratch? Like, I've made banana bread, which is basically cake.
True cake from scratch. Okay, first of all, banana bread is not cake for sure. I made a carrot cake.
It's
I
not
think.
bread. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's a loaf. It comes in a loaf tin. You bake it in a loaf
pound
tin.
cake, that's in a loaf.
Pound cake. You're right. Pound
got
cake
you
is
there.
a loaf. Yeah.
We'll come back on that one.
Cake and bread to me, I've long held the opinion that cake is a trash tier dessert archetype.
It can be. I think in general,
like a cheesecake is better. Pies are better.
Easy.
Cookies are better. But now, I actually think I might be really into cake because olive oil lemon cake.
Yes.
This lemon upside down cake we're going to compete on. So the premise on this one is it's like Great British Bake Off. Last time we did what's called the signature challenge where we did dinner rolls in our own style. This time we're going to be doing upside down lemon cake with like literal glazed lemons on top.
Yeah.
But it's a technical challenge. So we both have to try to make it as best as humanly possible.
To look as good as possible, to technically be correct, and to taste good.
Exactly.
And so neither of us have baked a cake is what I'm taking away from this.
Not in
So
many moons.
we're on level playing field then.
Yeah.
And
Are
I've
we?
been baking, but I've honestly kind of given up my sourdough
But
game.
you're not a dessert guy,
I'm not really.
you know?
Here's the thing. I'll eat it.
Well, that's both of our problems. I'll eat it.
I'm normally not seeking it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never order a slice of cheesecake at a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
but if somebody brings me a slice of cheesecake,
You'll
it's
eat the
gone.
whole thing. It's
I
gone.
love cheese. If they bring me the whole cheesecake, I'll eat the entire cheesecake.
That's an interesting thing about you versus me. I struggle to not even order it. I want to order it. I always want dessert. If there is dessert, I'll also eat it.
Yeah.
Right? That's my problem. It's a both.
Yeah.
You have the self-restraint to just, I can take it or leave it.
I'm like, $8 for a slice of cheesecake?
Oh, it's the price.
Out of your
It's the
mind.
price.
I can't do
Okay.
it.
That's like
Somehow,
my brother's that way.
Other things like food, savory food, whatever.
My brother's that way, and he'll say like, it's gone after, and then I just poop it out. So like, what's the point? It's like I wasted the
What's
money.
the point of eating?
That's basically, he'll go to that level, which is a hilarious argument. But,
Yeah.
and honestly, hey, it saves him. He's a healthier man than I am sometimes.
Yeah.
So back to the garden. We've got, are you trying to grow a lot right now or are you not?
I am running out of space.
Okay, so yes.
Yeah.
So yes, you are.
Yeah, I wish I had double the space because there are things that I want to do that I just can't. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, for example, I filled up my garden and then I was like, oh my God, I forgot I ordered onions. And I'm like, where the heck are these onions going to go? I just put in 500 cloves of garlic.
I got the
And
same
it was
box.
hard to find that.
We opened up the box because we
Yeah.
split our order, and I was like, okay, I got to order some more Birdie's beds from our store or something because I don't have.
Order a couple acres.
I mean, I'd have to take over like a new plot in the backyard or something in the test garden but I think part of it too is like I'm learning what I want a lot of and what I don't want a lot of.
That's something I'm still dancing with.
I just want a lot of staples.
Yeah.
And like, do I need a ton of broccoli in my garden? Actually, I found a couple good recipes for broccoli, so I take that one back. But like, I don't need endless chard. I need like 2-3 chard, maybe.
Here's the trap though. This is something where I'm proud of myself because I learned.
Okay.
And I adapted.
Okay.
And I'm better.
Let's go.
Chard, I was the same idea. I was like, 4 chard, that's enough for our household. We go through it every once in a while, but here's what happens. December ticks in, sunlight hours are gone. All of a sudden, it takes a week to grow 1 leaf. So we were like, we have so many greens to eat. We go out there, chard hasn't moved in a week. So this year, I've doubled all my greens.
That's
because it's so slow in the winter.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, I just can't get enough to grow.
So you've doubled your production, not because you actually need it at full growth level.
Yes.
But because it's not growing
the winter
as fast.
growth level.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And now the big problem is I have a giant bed of cover crop that I keep saying I'm going to deal with this week. It's been 4 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
I need to chop it and drop it. And that's going to open up some space. Now I have to figure out, what am I going to put there? Because what I really want to do is grow a bunch of grains. I want to grow oats. I want to grow wheat. And I want to grow more fruit. But I don't have the space for any of that.
I want to grow wheat this year. And
bagels, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I want to grow wheat. I actually have another idea. A while ago, for my birthday, I threw out the first pitch at the Padres game.
Yeah.
And there might be something to do with the Padres in the future next year.
Okay.
We'll see. And it may or may not involve one of my favorite skateboarders or one of my favorite musicians, which is a crazy... These are both San Diego locals.
Yeah.
So this would be a crazy thing to
That
have.
would be pretty wild.
But the idea is, can you grow a classic ballpark food? Can you grow a hot dog? Can you grow a burger? Basically everything but the meat products, right?
Yeah.
Can I come, bring the wheat, make the bun, make the relish, make the, grow
Ketchup.
the onions, right?
Yeah. Well, sorry, you can't put ketchup on a hot dog, according to some people.
I do.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was in Chicago. I didn't get it that style once.
You didn't get Chicago style?
I mean, I did most of the time, but like one time
okay.
I was like, nah, just give it to me the way I want. And they were like, I can't.
They're like, sir, I cannot give you this hot dog.
Yeah. You know what I love more than anything is, and I think Italians are this way.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's so funny. You do a thing that they don't approve of. Like you have you try to have like an iced coffee in the morning or something like that. I don't know if that's one of them. Or like you break the spaghetti or you stab it with the fork. You don't eat it the right way. They just lose it.
Yeah. Actually,
absolutely lose it.
We had an Italian friend who just visited and we hit him on this.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, what's the deal? And we gave an example. We're like, how come I can't order a cappuccino after lunch? He's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You can't drink a cappuccino after you ate.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? He's like, it's not that you can't have it at noon. It's that you can't put milk on top of all the food.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, maybe I get that more. It's like some order of operations. Like,
no, but what
you have
I
to eat
like
your
about
bitters
it
first, then your food, then your dessert. You can't just throw a cup of milk on top.
It makes sense. Here's what I love about it so much. Obviously, you can do anything you want. You could go eat jelly beans, blend them up, and then like pour them over your head. It doesn't really matter. You could do that.
Yeah.
But they've come up with an internally consistent Italian logic for how to consume and prepare these foods that if you violate it and you're not trying to, like you accidentally do it or you do it on purpose, the furor that comes at you is crazy. And I think they know, hey, it's really not that serious at the end of the day, but that they play along with that joke.
I could see that.
I like that passion.
Yeah. If anyone who's Italian listening, let us know.
Let us know something.
Are we wrong?
Yeah. Are we wrong? Or
are you right?
do you guys care that much Is it really because the passion's 100% there, but I feel like when it came down to it, they'd be like, whatever, do what you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of passionate Italians, I'm growing some radicchio.
Oh, wow. What a transition.
Which I think comes from Italy. At least that's where they breed a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I would love if anyone had suggestions for how the heck to eat this bitter stuff. Because I've seen a lot of recipes where you cook it. And I've tried cooked lettuce. I don't know if you've ever tried it.
Uh-huh.
It worked.
Like charred, kind of.
Yeah. No, like straight. There's a
spinach
Chinese style recipe
Oh,
where it's like fully cooked lettuce.
I don't know.
And I agree. That's how I felt. But it tasted good.
Yeah.
It tasted fine.
Well, I watched Culinary Class Wars. Interesting named show. From it's a Korean show. It's on Netflix. And it's about these white spoons and black spoons. So there's 80 black spoon chefs who apparently, they're all actually really accomplished, but they're apparently not as good as the white spoons.
Yeah.
The white spoons are like the Gordon Ramsays of Korea, you know. So there's 20 of these white spoons, and they all go head to head, and they're making all these different concoctions with these different challenges. And obviously most of it's Korean, Chinese, some Italian, but a lot of fusion because they're mixing styles.
Yeah, sure.
So the stuff you ended up seeing on the show, you're like, of course I would have never considered this. And it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I used this and I blended it instead of cooked it or whatever, and it ends up working.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. It's very easy to close our minds as to what we want to try. Because we grow so
Italians.
many different... Yeah. We just lost them. Because we have so many different vegetables in our garden that we're growing all the time.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I'm not even eating like every part. I always forget you can eat broccoli leaves.
I tried a
and in a
radicchio
pinch, I do it. What'd you think?
on a sandwich.
Oh.
It was a radicchio. It was a prepared sandwich. Like I bought the sandwich.
Okay.
And it had a radicchio slice.
Just one?
In it. Just one. Took over
That's
the whole
enough.
thing.
Oh, okay.
Took over the whole
That's not a
thing.
good way.
Yeah, I was like, come on, just one? Does the whole thing? I feel like with radicchio, somehow you need to cook it and alter the bitterness profile
the
with
cooking
like
does
some
that.
sort of fat
Yeah.
or something like that. Or not use it. You know, so, I don't know. I don't know, man. So, hey, if you guys know how to prepare radicchio, because we're going to be growing some next season in the garden, then let us know. This has been Jacques and Kevin on the Beet Podcast, our final episode together for the 2024 season. Signing off.